The date is January 8th. I'm sitting in my shop and I get a text from Cletus McFarlane. It says, "You want to race in the Freedom 500? First place prize is a helicopter." Now my racing resume is not very vast. I've done some drag racing and I race in lemons, which is you turn left and right, and it's what I would call a no contact sport. So I'd never been on a banked track or tapped cars to get around them or stayed on a green flag while cars crash out all around you. I'd never done that. But when Cletus McFarlane texts you and asks you to join his race, you say, "Hell yeah, brother," and you get to work. So I figured the first thing I could do is learn how to drive on an oval track. So I very quickly and very crudely threw together a sim rig, built a gaming computer with extra wires, and I didn't even finish building it before I had to just focus on practicing, so there's still parts everywhere and stuff. But anyways, fired it up. It's commonly accepted that iRacing is the most realistic form of sim racing. It's what Max Verstappen uses. So I did some research, and they don't have Crown Vics on iRacing, but they do have oval tracks. So I loaded in an oval track, linear raceway, similar to Cletus's track. Read online, some people recommended using the street stock car and modifying the suspension to be as soft as possible and throw long gears at it. So that's what I did. And I got on the track and I immediately crashed. And then I immediately crashed again. And then I got halfway around the track and then caused a crash. At this point, I was pretty happy that I was practicing this on the simulator and not real life. After a while, I started to get the hang of it and I could run 20 laps without crashing. And then I could run 20 laps without crashing and beat the AI. Then I could run 50 laps without crashing and 50 laps without crashing and beat the AI. And then 100 laps. And then I set a goal to race 200 laps a day, which I did for weeks. So thousands of laps down, and I'm comfortable turning left. I'm comfortable with my racing lines. I'm comfortable with tire degradation and learning how not to smoke the tires and make them last for a whole race. Then as we were getting a little closer to race time, I thought, man, I should try some different vehicles out. And it did not go well. It didn't go well at all. I wasn't as fast as the other racers. I was constantly crashing. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing on the track anymore. And then just to spice it up even a little bit more, I switched to a different app, Assetto Corsa, which actually has the Freedom Factory in a very rudimentary way, and it's got a Crown Vic. And the day before the race, I practiced this and realized it was probably the most realistic simulation, although I couldn't have opponents. But I also realized I was in for a heap of trouble because in the simulator that I had been practicing, in the car that I had been practicing, it was a gas and coast methodology. So you would full throttle it and you could see, watch this time lapse, watch my right foot. I'm never using the brakes. I could go 100 laps and never touch the brakes. With a Crown Vic, there's something about the gearing, the weight, I think it's the weight actually of the vehicle, that you have to use the brakes before you hit the corners. Now this Assetto Corsa simulator showed me that. It also showed me tire pressure and tire wear, and then it also showed me lap times. Now I didn't know if I could trust these lap times or not, but they weren't super stellar. I wasn't nailing this like I was on the other simulator. So yeah, I got like a half a day of practice and I set a time about like this. Just remember this time for later on in the video. So with not learning how to drive all figured out, I decided it was time to start focusing on how to make the car look the part. This is what BS for Build is good at. This is what we do well. Let's make a cool looking car. I figured if I'm gonna fly all the way across the country, let's show them what we're good at, right? Because it's probably not gonna be race car driving. So in this race, you see a lot of cars that are just house painted one color or another. I wanted to do better than that. I actually didn't know that people like Tim Kennedy and BJ Baldwin and Travis Pastrana, they just hire a crew to go out there and vinyl wrap their whole car before they get there. I didn't know that was an option. So I had to come up with a design that was gonna work with the base color of my car. So I requested a white car. And it had to be something that I could pack in my checked luggage, bring down to the race, wrap my car in 3 or 4 hours, and make it stand out to the standard that we're used to. So for me, it was a close pick between the Macintosh computer livery from the 90s and this concept that this really great artist, his Instagram is Hey Daniel Vera, has made. He's great at applying different cartoon characters or brands or different things to car liveries, so they stand out very well. So he's had this concept for a what I'll call Buzz Lightyear inspired design that I thought was super cool. So I loaded up a Crown Vic blueprint in Photoshop and started kind of applying some of the colors in some of the places, and it started to look really, really cool. So I gotta give credit where credit's due. The root concept and the root idea for my design all comes from Hey Daniel Vera. I'll put his Instagram in the description below. Please go show him some love. Hopefully him and I can work together in the future on like a full custom livery, because this was pretty cool. So next step is you kick out all your graphics, you send them to the computer, you send them to the vinyl printer, you buy a bunch of the wrong type of vinyl. We had 1 day to do this, so bought sign vinyl instead of car vinyl, which added some challenges. You cut the vinyl, you weed the vinyl out, you put the transfer on it, and then you fold it up real tight and throw it in your checked luggage. and hope it'll be fine by the time you get to Florida. So I packed up all the livery supplies and my racing gear and headed to the airport literally that night. Traveling with a helmet is hard. I had my Arai racing helmet and that had to be my carry-on. Shout out to Arai for providing myself and the entire team with the best helmets in the world. I will put a link in the description. I've talked about these helmets before, but they are second to none. Anyways, this is a red-eye flight, so you go all through the night and feel like crap when you land. But before I know it, 7 a.m. in Florida, like 4 a.m. my internal clock, and we quickly jumped into the worst rental car that I've ever had, the GMC Acadia. I'd give that a highly do not recommend. And my first stop on this Florida trip was over to Chris Fix's house where we filmed some content, and he was kind enough to let me stay for the duration of this trip. And before you know it, ready or not, I'm a solid hour and a half late to a 2-hour-long practice session at the Freedom Factory. Before we get down to it, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is cereal all grown up. You got the same great tastes and flavors that you loved as a kid, but now it's brought up to the 21st century. With 1 or less grams of sugar and high protein, it's a meal or a treat for any time. The variety pack comes in 4 different delicious flavors. You've got fruity, frosted, cocoa, and peanut butter. I was lucky enough to get to try them all today. And fruity is my personal favorite choice. And like I said, these are high in protein, which for me gives me that nice full feeling. They're simple, they're high quality, and there's no artificial ingredients. It's a huge win in my book. And Magic Spoon fits a huge variety of different lifestyles. It's high protein, it's keto friendly, it's gluten-free, grain-free, wheat-free, soy-free. It's cereal reinvented. It's all of the great same tastes and flavors that you remember as a kid, but with grown-up ingredients, no artificial flavors and dyes. And with 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein in each serving, and only 4 to 5 net carbs, it's a huge win. Cereal's back on the menu. It is days like this where I get to eat cereal on camera that I cannot believe this is my job. So click on the link below to grab a variety pack today, and be sure to use my code BISFORBUILD to get $5 off. Or go to magicspoon.com/BISFORBUILD, just like it is on the screen right here, or you can scan the QR code right here. And Magic Spoon is so confident that you're gonna like their product. It is backed by a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you're not happy with it, you can get a refund, your money back with no questions asked. So click on the link in the description or scan the QR code and use code BISFORBUILD to get $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/BISFORBUILD and save $5 a day. Thanks Magic Spoon for all the great cereal. Let's get back to work. So I just roll up to the Freedom Factory and we got the giant helmet getting put into place. And they got Heavy D over here in the background parking a freaking Black Hawk helicopter. I think I'm in the right place. So I just arrived at the Freedom Factory. I haven't seen this place since like 2 weeks after Cletus bought it. So it's been a while. I know there's been just, so many improvements. We've all watched it online and watched the evolution. So I'm really excited to be back here. It's so exciting to be able to race here. And one thing I want to talk about too is kind of like nerves with racing. I know a lot of you people watching, you guys want to race. Racing can be nerve-wracking, it can be stressful, and I know it keeps a lot of people out of the sport as well. So I think it's like really important to talk about it, because it looks like everybody just immediately shows up, just all balls and hits it. I'm a beginning racer. I'm new to this stuff. I've got plenty of hours behind myself in a race car. So I'm showing up here today, and I'll be honest, I'm not nervous for practice, like at all. And that's what we're doing today. But I am still a bit nervous for the race. So I'll let you guys know after I go practice, how I'm feeling about everything and if it makes me feel better about the race. I don't think practicing is gonna give me any edge that's gonna help me beat any of these professional race car drivers in a head-to-head. I don't think I can outlearn them that fast. So what we're here to do today is to have fun, which is what we're doing tomorrow. Have fun and also get comfortable with the whole situation. I gotta find out where I gotta go. Hang on. All right, we got some stuff sorted out. I guess I don't need to suit up for this. So it's just helmet, jump in a car, getting in a car pretty quick here. Ethan from Grind Hard Plumbing is another one of the newbies. He's out here practicing. I say newbie, and I mean newbie in the sense that he has not raced Freedom Factory before, such as I. So we're gonna go jump on track and go out there and have some fun, playing around, try and get some decent lap times. It might not look like it, but I'm super psyched to get in a car and just go fast. It's been a while. So I'm super psyched to do that. I don't think I'm gonna have any time. It's really busy. There's a big operation going here, a lot of people, a lot of stuff going on. So I don't wanna hold anybody up with camera work in the car. I'm gonna have Jared shoot a little bit of B-roll or whatever roll of me flying around, hopefully not tapping any walls, and we'll see how we do. All right, guys. Well, that was not good. That was not good at all. I did not drive well.
You're already recording.
I am.
YouTuber inception there.
I didn't do good. I did not do good at all.
I started to get in the line a little bit, so.
Well, I was gonna come in to get tips from you because I couldn't see my braking point. I couldn't see my turn-in point. I didn't know if I was braking too long. Like nothing was really clicking. And then they white flagged. I don't know what a white flag is. When we race, they don't use the white flag.
Here, we can walk out and I'll point out where you want.
It's time to go learn, guys. I gotta go to school. Overall, we've talked about this before. I'm gonna try really hard, but there's a lot of professional race car drivers here, so I'm here to have fun. But I don't want to embarrass myself here, so it's time to learn. All right, we did some reviewing of the track. I was way off on my braking area. I was braking way too early, and I was braking too much. And I was trying an experimental line. We've got some footage back home we're gonna go review. I'll show you that in a second. All right, so we're out here over at Chris's house. This is computer, some onboard footage of when he was out with Cletus getting basically lessons.
Yeah.
He told me before I got to the track to apex later. Now I've been on my sim and learning oval tracks and stuff for thousands of laps, and we basically had a different concept of what it meant to apex later.
Well, apex later on an oval track.
Yeah.
You're not cutting right there. You know, you're cutting in a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. So since the bend is so long, it's a standard apex, but yeah, you're not getting in early. Yeah.
Like you see how high. We'll see on the next lap. I stay up higher.
So full throttle out through here, up to the wall, fading up to the wall. My braking zone or my off throttle zone is here. Braking zone's that sign, and diving in.
Exactly.
And this is one of Chris's best laps, and he's doing exactly that. And that's what we saw other people doing in testing. I was trying to apex even later by floating it through. Oh, there goes the video. Chris's computer's being fun today. Anyways, I was trying to apex even later and by floating through, and it was not doing too well. I had to basically speed up back out of the corner. So no more practicing until tomorrow at qualifying. I'm gonna call it a victory if I don't qualify dead last.
Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, it's your first time at the track, so.
Yeah, things are gonna happen. Chris said his first time out, you said you started about 22-second laps and worked your way down to low 19s, which I didn't see anybody do a low 19 today in testing, but that doesn't mean that everybody out there can't do them.
I also I pushed the car kind of hard.
This is what happened with Chris's practice cars. He ripped the wheel off of it.
So I was just trying to get as close to, like, so if you could go as quick as possible here, you dive in late apex.
Perfect. Yeah.
See how late that apex is?
Yeah.
And then get right back on it,
and
you get sucked up, you know, because of inertia. So if you could do that, awesome. But if you do it too much, then you hit the wall and
you
that
ripped
kind of thing.
the back of the car. But when was this that you did this? Was it like a year ago?
No, this was a couple of months ago.
Chris is out in Florida and did some Florida things over at the Freedom Factory.
A lot of fun.
Pretty cool. All right, guys, we are back at the track, and it is time to start putting the livery on our car. We got to get a razor blade and kind of remove some of the stuff that the team here put on, because they give you your number when you show up and all that stuff. We're gonna remove some of that stuff, add back in some of our own stuff. We got a lot of work to do. We've got 2.5 hours to do it. All right, we talked to some staff at the track. They want us to keep the BS for build on the back. What I think they do. So, well, look, I think that plays with our design and it'll be totally fine. The 404, we have our own 404. So yeah, we don't have a lot of time to talk about this. I'm just gonna throw on a time lapse. We're all gonna get to work. I got Chelsea and Jared with me here. So we got a good crew. We gotta try and bust this out. As with all of these things, it's just like fast paced, go. I wanna show you inside the car though. It's really cool. It's just fully stripped out, and then a really nice racing seat that looks like a Kirky racing seat to me. And you got your 4-point, your full roll cage, lots and lots of good door bars here for the full roll cage, dash bar. So it's a really nice, safe, at least looking cage. As far as I know, everything I know about cages, it's all good. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, so we got to get their 404 off, and then we'll start following our designs. And it's not gonna be super pretty. We have we don't have car vinyl, we have sign vinyl, and because of that, it gets this bubbling and stuff in it. But we're gonna make a 10-footer right now. I apologize about this time-lapse footage and how it feels like you're getting blasted in the face with Technicolor confetti every 5 seconds. The GoPro actually corrupted all of the files and I lost them all, but I was able to recover this one in some way-ish. It's so hot. It's actually not that hot, but like technically outside, but we've just been in direct sun for 3 hours now. 3-hour livery job. It is like James came by, Jack Stan Jimmy, and he said, perfect wrap job. 50 miles an hour from 50 feet away, absolutely perfect wrap job. That's kind of what I said we were going for. So let me give you a walk around. The 404 car, the Buzz car. We've got the BS for build, Space Ranger, got the numbers, it's Tim Kennedy. And we've got everything coming on around. I think it looks great. I'm happy where our name is on the car too. That's really cool. It worked out well, just out of pure luck with the livery. The BS for Buzz on the back. We're looking good. So I got some red underglow if there is time. We were told to be done by right now, although nobody's like calling us or pulling us anyway. We were told, you know, this is time to be done. I've got black markers to outline the buttons, the numbers, and that's kind of about it. Makes it look a little more cartoony. And then it's on to the next thing before qualifying. All right, guys, time to driver's meeting. Cletus is right there. We're all under the Nitto tent. They supply all the tires for this event, and eventually here we're gonna quiet up and we'll listen to all the rules and everything.
Race day was also Garrett's birthday, so everybody got together before the driver's meeting and sang him happy birthday, which is pretty cool.
Appreciate you. All right, if you're a driver and you can't hear me, come a little bit closer because you got to hear all this stuff.
All right, driver's meeting is over. I was hanging out with Adam, talking with him a little bit about this. I would say, I told you guys I would check back in with nerves. Practicing yesterday did not really help anything. But talking with people today and just going through the driver's meeting and stuff, feel pretty good. Feel pretty good. Not too nervous really at all. I'm excited. I'm going out to have fun. One of the cool things is I mean, sorry, I got some sunscreen on the lens, I could tell. When you look at the roster here and how many professional drivers there are on this roster, it's like, I really think like they've got a competition. Like they're them versus them, professional driver versus professional driver. They got something to lose. I got absolutely nothing to lose. So just absolutely going out there to have fun, conserve tire, try and save my car to the end, and then rip it at the very end. If I can't push it to the front at the very end, at least I tried my best. But like with any race, like first step for me and first goal is always like finish. Just try and finish. So I'm excited. I'm pretty stoked. I'm excited for qualifying to see how that goes. Funny things, I realized I didn't eat any food at all today because we were so busy doing the wrap. So gotta make sure I eat some food and chill out and relax, get out of the sun for a little bit, and then be ready to roll. All right, everybody's lining up. It's go time for qualifying. Let's not qualify dead last. That would be a win.
So we're stacked up here ready to qualify, and I've got Jared in my ear over my own personal radio, and then Jared has the race comms in his ear. So everybody that races, the Freedom Factory provides you with basically an intercom. So I mean, you can hear them talk, you can't talk back to them. So Jared's supposed to be relaying the information to me. The first thing he relays to me is, you've got Travis Pastrana behind you, which is like so nerve-wracking. It was crazy. I was just hoping I wouldn't mess up Travis and his qualifying, but obviously he's a pro, so he backed it up a little bit, gave himself plenty of space. He did say that he didn't even feel like he was pulling on me. But that's because qualifying was really tight. The whole field was divided by about less than a second, which is really, really crazy. It's the tightest Freedom 500 field that there's ever been. Now that it's go time, it's time to test all the things that I learned on the simulator. The racing line was good, but not learning with the right car was a huge deficit to me. It actually didn't help me at all. What I'm doing here, and you can hear it, is I'm getting off of the throttle too early, then I don't have enough speed to apply hard braking before the corner for the weight shift, and then I'm just going into the corner too slowly. So I'm having to apply gas early on in the corner, which is ridiculous. That means you did it wrong. Speaking of doing stuff wrong, I was so focused on trying to get the best lap that I could that I forgot that we only got a certain amount of laps to try, and I didn't have race comms in my ear telling me to pull over. Jared didn't think I would need to know to pull over, so I just kept racing around, and everybody else pulled in. It's a little embarrassing in front of a crowd of like 10,000 people, but I'm sure nobody knew what was going on either. Pulling up a clip of the live stream just so you could see it overall, but I don't want to show the whole thing. Cletus spends a lot of money on this event, and the way he pays for it is with his live streaming service, so frdmplus.com. Go check it out. Join there. You can watch the whole thing. It's highly, highly worth it. But right here, what these guys say.
Team there on the 404. It's Buzz Lightyear. I love it. My 10-year-old's traveling with me, and he loved the car. That's all.
I mean, they've for years it was just kind of like your plain Jane kind of looking car here, but the folks from Project Prime and everybody's really done a nice job at putting together some really, really good wraps for these cars. and the drivers have got a little bit of input in on it as well.
And that comment right there just made me feel like I really won the day. I got that from kids all day during the event. Jackson and Jimmy's kid came by like 5 times as we were building the car. He loved it. I told James he should just take the car when the race is over so he can drive his kid around it. Going into this race, I just wanted to build a cool car that would put a smile on people's face or inspire some people, and the kids absolutely loved it. So that's what made it all worth it for me, and that's why I put in the title that we won our part. We build cool cars. We built a really cool race car. I think we had the coolest livery at the race, and that's a win. What's not a huge win is next. It's my qualifying position, 22 out of 26. Not that bad. If you look at the people in front of me, everybody that's in front of me has raced on this track before, and a lot of them are professional race car drivers. So it's not great, but it's not last, that's for damn sure. After you leave qualifying, you line them back up, and I didn't know what place I qualified, so every time they put a car behind my car, that represented that I beat them in qualifying. So that was exciting.
I'll get you introduced.
So if you're ever wondering what it's like to start this race, it is so freaking cool to have all the people in the stands, to be all lined up. With a lot of these guys are huge influences to us. Just like so many people, from friends to YouTubers. I mean, Roman Atwood is right here. He's freaking OG of the game. Super cool. This is very rad. I hope we put on a good show.
All right, it's about go time, Chris. You ready?
Yep. I'm calling. We get a caution in the first 5 laps.
I think it's 2.
Yep.
Just don't be you.
Yeah, let's hope it's not me.
Once the sun goes down, it's time to start the race, and we started getting into formation, and that's when I realized that my helmet was unbuckled. The chin strap for my helmet was completely undone. I tried to redo it with my gloves on, but I could not. So then I had to try and get that back in there and get my glove on before the race started, which was a little hectic, but I managed to get it in time. Fireworks were green, the race is getting started, and I want to walk you through this first lap right here. So the restarts and the starts are where the most crashes happen. There's a term in racing, cautions bring more cautions, and that was definitely true in this race. There was a lot of crashing on the restart. So we're trying to spread it out, trying to spread the pack a little bit as we get a feel for the track and get a feel for our way around. So we're driving our way around. We are in the most kind of compact section also of the field, where you have really good drivers and bad drivers. And then we're on our first crash right here, and that is lap 1. We're on lap 1 right there. And I'm used to going under caution here. I expected to go under caution. I even slowed down for it. I shouldn't have done that. It's green, you stay green, you keep in it. So I actually I lost about a half a place there. And now you're gonna see orange car on my left. It's trying to come up high and take the racing line, and I back out of it. I have to slow down. In this race, you gotta fight for your positions. You gotta fight a lot harder than that if you wanna hold your spot. So I could have either gassed into it, stayed high on the wall, or try to push him down earlier. But if you take the passive approach like I did, you have to hit the brakes to avoid an accident, and you're gonna lose positions. Fast forward to lap 10. Now I've got race comms. I've got Jared in one ear spotting for me, telling me where to go, and I've got the track comms in my other ear. Now Jared is telling me that I got JH Diesel on my left and I need to stay high. So I stay high, give him room to go through. In just 10 laps, the head of the field had caught with us in the back and started to lap us because we were dealing with so much gnarly traffic over in the back, and we're worse drivers. So they've lapped us. It's Vice Grip Garage right behind GH Diesel, another crash right there. So at least that's one person I'm passing. And then we're under caution, and you see Heavy D just come blasting by. Now when we're in caution, you're supposed to stay in the order that you were, but there was a little bit of shenanigans going on with kind of not slowing down, blasting by a few people and trying to hold that spot. But given that we were so far in the back, it doesn't really matter either way. It's just a funny pattern that kind of keeps happening. At this point in the race, I told Jared, I am just here to have fun. I don't think there's any way I'm gonna gain a lap on the lap leaders. So let's just keep me out of a massive car accident and have some fun out here. And we did exactly that. I got comms saying stay high, stay high. Cletus, I think, had something go on with coolant or antifreeze because the track basically started to get wet down and you could feel your car sliding in through the corners a little bit more than regular. And eventually Cletus just had a full spin out right there, sent us under caution again. Fast forward a little bit further in the night, I think we're on about lap 40 and something happens a little bit on the inside of the corner and threw a lot of shrapnel all over the track. And we go under caution, Heavy D makes his move. After caution, I'm back up with him. And then we go in, I think this one was LS George, kind of got into the infield a little bit with C-Boys TV, that orange car. And then Heavy is a little bit of a part of it, and I'm kind of actually gaining a little bit here. I'm going for it. I'm feeling good, and then I'm getting banged out of the way. And that's how this race rolls. Oh, and then there's an accident up on the high wall. So that's how this race goes, and that's really like Rubbins racing. That's how you make your way through, and that's a fair play. But I just really, since I wasn't in any chance to win anything, I did not want to hurt anybody. So when I see a car that's stopped up high, I get out of the gas and I give them space. Last thing I want to do is be goofing off too much and hurt somebody. And I mean, that's probably just me being overly cautious, because I have never heard of anybody getting hurt in this race anyways. After a few cautions from that, we're back around. Got a good spin out here on the inside of the track. Not really, oh, that was Heavy D. That was Heavy D flying around. He got contact with C-Boys TV, it looks like. And then we see here on my top right, Matt's off-road recovery just locks it up. Here's a little replay for you. I don't know what that was, but just locks it up, sends it into the wall. We stay under green, which this is, again, weird for me. I'm used to being cautious, so you can see how much I slowed down and lost position, because I see another crash in the wall in front of me as well. So I'm just like, it's very awkward for me to keep racing when I know there's 2 active crashes on a track. But it's their track, their rules. Could have stayed in it if I wanted to. Next up on the chopping block, we got Kyle Boosted Boys. I don't know what happened to his car, but he probably control arm right side of the wall, just totally stuck and out of the race there. And we got caution for that one. And at this point, my camera GoPro died in the car because this race had been an hour and a half long, which is pretty crazy because you can do it in 30 minutes if nobody goes under caution. But Grindhard Plumbing got in an epic crash where I think all 4 wheels of their car got off the ground. So you have to check out their channel for when their video gets released to see what the hell that was. And sorry I didn't have that, because I was right behind him when that happened. Fireworks mean it's the end of the race. You know, I don't want to brag or anything. I'm not even sure if this is right, but that is Travis Pastrana's car, so he got a DNF, which I think that means I just beat Travis Pastrana in a race. I'm not really sure, but while all the guys are doing donuts in the infield and stuff, I got to cut out a little bit here to race into the pits.
My official placing, and I'm quite happy about this, is not last.
Good job.
I avoided like 35 wrecks, and I might make my flight.
Freeze frame right here, I gotta mention these guys. Give a huge shout out to Holly, who is the parent company of Simpson. And when I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm gonna be doing this race and I need a good Hans device. That is a head and neck restraint that will help save you in a bad whiplash situation. They sent me out the Hybrid S carbon fiber. It is like the best of the best. And I cannot thank them enough for sending that out to help keep me safe. So that's really cool. You'll be seeing me use it you know, in years to come. So huge thanks to them, and I'll put a link in the description. Now at some point, Chris or Jared told me, hey, there's a hell of a fireworks show. Stand in front of your car and we got to take some pictures, try and get a thumbnail shot. So if you're in the infield, you weren't allowed to get out of your car, but since I went out to the pits, I could get out of my car. I was well outside of the blast radius. The reason I had to jet and run so fast is I had made an obligation, I had made a promise to Kyle, or B is for Build Kyle, that I would join a video game tournament with him. Counter-Strike 2, it's a game we've been playing together for almost 20 years now. It got scheduled before the Freedom 500, but I had to do the Freedom 500, so I'm in Florida. It's 9:30 at night, and I've got to get back to Portland by 10 a.m., and there's no direct overnight flight, so it's a little tricky. Jumped right into my rental car and started racing to the airport. Got to the airport on time, only to find out that they stopped selling beer at 10 p.m., so I had missed the cutoff, which was absolutely miserable. And then jumped on the most empty plane I've ever been on in my entire life. 4 hours later, it's 3 a.m. and I am in Denver, Colorado, waiting for my next 7 a.m. flight. So I did something I've never done before, which is sleep in an airport. Not a bad time, to be honest. Then I'm on flight number 2, Denver to Portland. It's now morning time in Portland, so I'm fresh and cheery. Uber ride to the gaming tournament. Get to the gaming tournament with, no joke, 30 minutes to spare before the tournament starts. Kyle and I fire up Counter-Strike. We've got our team of 5 people. We lost our first game, sending us into the losers bracket, which happened to us last year too. But unlike last year, we did not dominate the whole losers bracket. We won one more game in the losers bracket, and then we lost our next game, knocking us out of the tournament. Interestingly enough, we placed really similarly in Counter-Strike as I did in the Freedom 500. Freedom 500, I placed 17th out of 26 drivers. But if you did remember, I qualified 22nd, so in theory, I finished a lot better than I qualified. That was a really, really fun time. I want to thank a few people very, very seriously. I want to thank Garrett for having me out to the Freedom Factory. I want to thank Chris for having me at his house and all the hospitality. And I want to thank Jared for all of the help being in my ear with the comms and helping me through this whole thing. Having friends like you guys that help uplift each other and stuff like that, to be able to do really cool stuff like that. It means the world, and it was awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'll throw links to all of their stuff in the description. I'll probably forget to do all the links, but you know how it is. And now that I'm back home, it's time to get back to work. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one. Peace!